Hello, and welcome to our sixth episode of Bot Boundaries, where we explore what it means to be human in the age of AI. In this episode, we explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping advertising. Katie and I both have a background working in digital and traditional ads, so we'll discuss how we see AI changing the art and science of advertising. AI is no longer a novelty. Marketers are automating campaigns and personalizing content at scale. AI tools are reshaping workflows, making complex tasks faster and smarter than ever before. And we'll close out today with the Controversy Corner AI Ad Fails Edition. Katie, so great to see you today.
Great to see you too. Good to be here. I'm really excited to dive into all things AI and advertising. All right, to kick it off, one of the topics that really jumps out to me when I think about AI and ads, and again, I worked for 15 years at Google. We were automating all the time, whether it came to automation in bidding or ad text and creation. But I think in the last year, one of the real revolutionary innovations was the rise of online video creation. So we saw this between creative generation, automated targeting of videos, advertisers have more AI powered features than ever that include video. And I think video creation was always something that was really hard for people in the past, had to hire a lot of production, high cost. It was kind of the last on their checklist, but now AI is really opening the gates to make that more accessible to all advertisers. And that's definitely where I've seen the most rapid growth, but also, as we'll get into later, I've also we've seen a lot of fails, right? When it comes to video, it can look really bad. It can look not authentic. It cannot be on the brand. So it's really, really important to continue to monitor that from a brand perspective. And we know that online video consumption and ads continue to dominate. So it makes sense that advertisers want to automate this channel to create more variations more quickly without paying large fees to agencies or creators potentially. There's a lot of tools, but some of the ones, that I think are most talked about or most popular is VO, which is from Gemini and Google. We have Sora from OpenAI and Adobe Firefly. Those are kind of like the big brands that are driving it. Then we have a lot of startups in video creation as well. So I'll be interested to see if brands decide to take this in-house going forward with their own in-house social teams driving creation, or if they still want to lean on agency expertise for this. So we'll get into the downsides of rapid creation and brand safety later on. But Jackie, any thoughts to what you've seen in terms of video creation of ads?
Yeah, I mean, video obviously so important for many years now. What's interesting, even with podcasting and the platform Riverside, these platforms make it really easy to just create AI generated clips and you can just publish those to social much easier than ever before. So your point on post-production and editing always being such a heavy lift historically since video was even created, it's just post-production is so much easier now.
Yeah.
But because things are easier, quality is still important. And so making decisions with these easy post-production editing tools is still of value. And sometimes it does take a really good trained eye to make good decisions with these new post-production video tools. So
yeah, that's a really good point.
points.
Yeah.
So now with AI tools for marketing and ads, are we at a saturation point? And, we need to ask ourselves which tools are truly useful for users or marketers and business owners. Between creative generation and automated targeting, advertisers have more AI powered features than ever. Some tools generate copy, visuals, and audience segmentation in moments, which is a big shift from the traditional manual approach. At my software company, Dunzy, is a great example of this shift and what we're accomplishing for our customers by simplifying content creation and creative so these marketers and business owners can focus on more strategy. That's a great example of how automation is on the rise. Although we're a little bit more focused on marketing campaigns rather than advertising copy at the moment. We'll likely expand to ad copy at some point. Although, a lot of the content we generate on the platform really could be used for ad copy, but there is a little bit more of a science to that kind of content. Also, big players like Meta and Microsoft are pushing for full automation of ad creation and running of ads in 2026. And it's been happening for a few years now.
Yeah.
my digital marketing firm. By the way, I do have two companies, my software company and my boutique agency. So we've experienced firsthand made a shift towards automation when building ads for our clients. When you're building ads in Meta, you'll see Advantage Plus is being pushed to be the default in an attempt to simplify campaign setup with automation for placements, audiences, budget, making manual controls less critical than they were before. But for us, we still kind of use a hybrid approach where you can leverage AI optimization and Advantage Plus, but still retaining specific manual tweaks for a little bit for audience, although broader audiences are kind of working right now. And Meta does a good job of narrowing it down and reaching your audience, the target audience, faster than ever before. We are seeing that. But, we still tweak like placements on our own and creative, definitely for more control, especially for complex goals. But really what hasn't changed is that creative is what actually moves the needle in digital ads. I've been saying this for years. I've been running Meta ads since they opened it up around 2011, 2012. And your creative still must be outstanding. But I guess on the flip side, what has changed is around style. The creative or visual part of the ad can come across seemingly low quality as long as the structure or strategy is of high quality. And what I mean is things like piquing interest quickly at the beginning of a video is really important, and communicating clearly in a way that engages the target audience and really drives the result you're looking for. So yeah, video, super important. Like you started this conversation out, Katie. Also in Meta ads, some detailed targeting options have been removed completely from the platform. Which so far seems to be fine, but overall your creative, the visual side of your ad, again, must be great to cut through all the noise. And wherever you're driving the potential customer to needs to be of high quality too. Things like your landing pages, your product pages, and those types of things really need to make sense with the ad that's being displayed to the customer first. So TBD on what all of this AI automation really will look like in 2026, and if advertisers will be comfortable fully outsourcing their ads to AI, or, the functions of building these ads. I think we're getting there, not yet. Is using a celebrity or known figure, name, face, and likeness, seems to be a clear violation of automation on the creative side. But what about a fake Forbes headline or an award? What's next, right?
Yes, and we'll talk about that next. But yeah, I definitely think a lot of your points were great around the fact that like Meta and Google, they've been doing this for a long time, right? Moving towards automation. And now when you enter the platform, if you're a new advertiser, you will be pushed through an automated experience. They want you to do their version of the AI automated ads. And my advice to people that are new to it, start there. It's just fine. And like you said, you can always layer on, but using that as a base model for a campaign is totally fine. Now, if you're more sophisticated and you have campaigns built out that you want to copy over, that's fine too. But it's not, I feel like a lot of advertisers, when they first introduce it, are always afraid when they take away, like you said, the features that they're used to. But give it a try. You can always add on and take away, but start with the broad targeting and start using the automation and putting your rules in there, because it actually works quite well. And there is a benefit towards like breadth of scope of getting people to see your ads, to see what the user behavior is going to be like.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with Google ads right now, that kind of trusting the platform is okay. That's a really good point. Meta, a little bit different, but still, there's some great automation features in there. Just keep your creative to your creative team, though.
And we could do a whole episode on creative best practices, which we should, because I do believe like there's such a stop the scroll. Like you can even think about in your own behavior on Instagram or Facebook when you're scrolling through, it has to really catch your eye. And that doesn't have to be a very expensive produced thing. There's great user generated content. There's great like simplified ads, but it has to stop you in your tracks in some way in those first few seconds and really engage you. And we could do a whole show on hooks. So maybe that's an upcoming one.
Yeah. And visual hooks, right?
Yes, visual hooks, verbal hooks, all of that. So great. That carries us into our next topic. And I think when we think about AI automation of ads and advertising, I always want to think of the flip side or the downside of that. And I
Mhm.
think the really big one here is ethics and responsibility in
Mhm.
labeling AI in ads. So this has been a huge
Mm.
story over the last 6 months, at least. There's a recent LA Times article we'll link to about this, where it talked about personal injury lawyers showcasing fake
Mm.
news reports to drive traffic to their videos, saying like, this person got $1 million from this huge accident. It wasn't a real accident. It looks like a news report, but it's
Whoa.
not an actual news source, right? So now we're tricking people kind of to click on that because they think like, oh, I'm in San Diego. There was a huge accident on the 15. What happened? And now I click on that thinking it's news, but it's actually an ad. So that's where we're getting to this line of blurriness and reality. So how explicit does AI ad labeling need to be? Who will enforce this in the future? Is it at the state level? Is it at the federal level? Is there an ads commission? Is it the platforms themselves, like Meta and others, where they make rules saying no fake news headlines? And this is all happening so rapidly. So the policy teams are really, I know at Google and Meta, they're trying their best, but it takes a while to catch up to that and see how people are going to use this technology for good and for bad. So I think this is a one to watch for sure. California actually has an upcoming deceptive ads bill authored by consumer advocates and legal experts that's on the docket right now. This is going to be a sign, I think, of what's to come in other regions. Obviously, California is a huge area, and it's where a lot of these tech companies are based. So I think that'll be a good indicator for the rest and potentially for federal reforms as well. But it's definitely an area to watch because of this like ability to create this hyper realism and how real some of these videos look. But we need to be careful and understand when something's deceptive and not real, and aware of the rules and regulations, especially when we're building ads like this. So it's a little scary, especially, as I'm on social media and have kids on, that I'm trying to teach on the good like media literacy to. And my
Mhm.
kids will often say, especially my older daughter, who's like a tween, will be like, oh, that's AI for anything that looks fake. But I have to explain to her, like, no, that's not AI. That's like, Avatar's not AI. That's like computer generated special effects. But when you see
Mm.
something like a cat singing, like maybe someone put a prompt into AI to like do that. And like, so I do think it's good to play around with that and especially talk to your kids and other people or older parents in your life about what is real and what's not online and how that's created. But I definitely feel there needs to be better enforcement here. I'm hoping the platforms themselves, as well as Ads Council and other places, will take a real stand here because it's important.
Yeah. Oh, you're such a good mom, Katie. Uh, all great points. And just overarching is that it's disappointing that humans can't be trusted with these tools. And so, which is why we're here talking about it, right? We need to make sure that we're all talking about it and we have voices from different corners and perspectives to really help this move in a direction that we're all okay with.
Yeah,
We're
and it
learning as
doesn't
we
feel
go.
like manipulation. We all know ads are created and ads in some form of manipulation, but when it's deceptive in nature or pretending to be something it's not. You talked about celebrities before, right? The ability to create an ad with like someone that looks like Taylor
Mm,
Swift talking about something, right? I would assume that would get taken down right away, but what kind of checks and balances and facial recognition are we having for celebrities? Do they need to like actually like now codify their face and like trademark that or their voice, right?
definitely.
So it's very interesting, I think, to see how that will happen in the future and what like protections people and public figures need to put in place to make sure that they're not being shown inappropriately as well.
So much to think
Lot to
about.
unpack.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Now getting into our controversy corner, AI ad fails edition. I was really excited about this one because,
Yes.
we often see these ad fails now, especially in Q4 where ad spend was really pumped up
Mhm.
and creation, people are proliferating with lots of ads. And so, of course, AI is a great use for that. You can pump out a ton of ads in Q4, your biggest time of the year, but a lot rides on those ads. So are they a fail or are they good? We'll talk about a few examples here. So the first one I have is Coca-Cola. Obviously, last year, they were actually one of the first big brands to put a totally AI created video ad out there and on TV as a platform. They also ran it on digital, but I think the main thing, and a lot of people saw it because it was on TV, and it was the ad of the truck, like going through the snow
Yes, the
and with
diesel
Santa,
truck.
like a creepy Santa. And it just looked fake. You know, that AI where it looks blurry, it looks like painted. I didn't think it looked great, but they thought it looked great enough to run. So that's what happened in 2024. So flash forward ahead to 2025. We'll send a link out with this as well and show you what it looks like. But, you know, is it an improvement on last year? Yeah, I guess. But it still has that weird, like, the link that we'll share from the source talks about this, but it has like a weird Thomas Kincaid vibe where it looks like painted, and like I think it's trying to be like very beautiful and kind of like wintry, realistic but not realistic. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really strange. And so I don't love like the aesthetics of it, I would say, is my number one thing where I'm like, that's AI right away off the bat based on the aesthetics. Then there's like a winter scene with little animals. Okay, cool, animals. Then there's randomly a sloth, which is not a winter animal. And so people
It's
online
like
were
they
like,
did.
what is a sloth doing there?
Yes,
waiting
sloth
to
is
me?
just like on trend, I think, and they just threw
It's
it
a
in
popular
there.
animal. Well, I know for my kids, like it went from like sloth to axolotl to like, you know, I can't, I have to think about what the next one is. I don't know. But like, yes, there will be these trendy animals that come up. And if you have kids,
Trendy
you all
animals, so
know, you're
weird.
like, wait, I've never heard about a naked mole rat before. Why do you know what this animal is? So yes, the sloth is really strange. And I feel like the sloth, just like they said, include popular animals. And they're like,
Yeah.
sloth, put a Santa, like have him wave from a tree. So that was weird. It doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't feel on brand for me. Like on
Mhm.
brand is the polar bears, right? It's the penguins. It's the polar bears popping
True.
an old school glass Coke. Like that's an iconic image of Coca-Cola and the holidays, right? Or even Santa, like in there. But this one's definitely a fail for me. I think it's an improvement on the year before, but it's just not quite right yet.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's a fail. And it's sad because it's like, because they're such a big brand, it's as if
An
they're
iconic brand.
influencing the American aesthetic and I guess global aesthetic to now accept these uh obviously computer generated aesthetic. And is that really becoming the new aesthetic? And that's
Yeah.
awful. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And it's not, it is wintry, but I didn't find it specifically holiday. Like, you know, like they could have
It
gone
was
like
wintry,
Santa. They could have
right?
gone to Christmas trees. Like, yeah, it just, you know, it was a tribe, a swing and a miss for me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the only thing that I'll give it is that there were cute animals, right?
Yeah.
Like
And a
animals
random
like
sloth. I was
kind
waiting
of
for
make
the
you
axolotl to
happy.
pop up from the water, you know?
Yeah, cute animals are a cheap trick. Like if you can put a puppy in an ad or a kitty,
Yeah.
those will always perform, which is why you have like these social media accounts just dedicated to like puppies or cats. Anyway.
Yes. Well, and on the flip side of a good use of animals, I would say like the ones that always make me tear up is the farmer's dog, like in the dog food commercials where they show like the life of a dog and your dog living with you throughout
Yeah.
the lifestyle. And they show like real people like with
Yeah.
their animals. There was some like user generated content one that I think ran on the Super Bowl last year. It was great. So like farmer's dog and other ones were like doing it right by showing real animals and real owners.
Yeah.
So
Marketers that get to work for pet brands really
yes.
have it easy. I
Yes.
really envy
Yeah.
them.
Easy to pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie, what's
All
up
right,
next for
cool.
you?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Equinox and AI generated New Year's ads that they produced. So, is this an effective tongue in cheek way to poke fun at AI images while actually outsourcing and using AI images? Or is this a fail based on customer reactions? So, essentially, what they did is they generated AI images, but poked fun at them next to their realistic, real images, which I kind of liked this
Yeah,
take.
this was
You know,
clever.
they're urging their viewers to question everything except yourself. That's kind of their slogan for this. You know, so question AI, but don't question yourself. And the images that they produce, they're like intentionally unsettling. One of this, like, totally unrealistic, like Venice Beach muscle bodybuilder with insane, like not even possible muscles, which is kind of hilarious. So again, it's intentional an intentional use of AI poking fun of it. So I like that approach. And they really just stuck with their signature move of skipping, usual workout shots in its ads. They come from typically leaning towards the results and the
Yep.
lifestyle that come with training at Equinox rather than just showing the grind of the exercise or the perfect polished results. So, their brand does a really good job of that. And so this use of AI is aligned with their traditional approach of not being too showy with perfect bodies necessarily, although they're all beautiful bodies
Yeah.
typically. So I don't think this is a miss. I just don't really love so much AI generated imagery. I mean, I've used it in my software company early on, and we've kind of switched to not using it anymore because it was cool, to use these images at first. I mean, we'll use them, I'm sure, in some way, but we really scaled back. But again, I think this was fine because it's tongue in cheek and they're
Yeah.
poking fun, and we'll see where it goes.
I like this one because it definitely is a stop the scroll moment when you see some of these
Mm,
images of like the muscle. You're like, ew, gross, what is that? And then so stop the scroll, it wins on that. And I liked it because it was a bit of a rebrand for them. I don't necessarily think of Equinox as funny or like cheeky,
yeah.
right? Like I think of Equinox as luxury of like black and white, like great photos of people running or people like in the gym or like, like you said, the results, but luxury, like, very simple aesthetics, like
Yeah.
not bright colors, right? Black and white, gold, like their color scheme and stuff. So I kind of like that this was like hyper realistic. It was funny.
Mm.
It was tongue in cheek and not something I'd expect from their brand, but makes their point of like, this isn't real. This is real. And like be real in the new year. And I was like, oh, okay, that's clever.
Yeah, and
Clever
I think
use of AI.
I agree with you. That's a really good point, and that's something we keep pointing out to our audience and in our own work. That originality is
Yeah.
really important right now, and high creativity is really important right now since AI is speeding up creative and content generation. So you're right that they really, I think, poked through everything that's out there, and it made us look. So yeah, that's a really good point, Katie.
Awesome. And that kind of brings me to my next one, which I like, which is also talking about kind of poking fun at AI, but using it at the same time, which is interesting. So Mint Mobile with Ryan Reynolds, like always on the cutting edge of ads, always doing funny and innovative stuff, right? That's kind of what they're known for, right? And obviously having a celebrity founder doesn't hurt that because he's willing to do like anything for them. And this was a great example. So they had Ryan Reynolds read a ChatGPT created script for their ads in his voice, right? So again, you have Ryan Reynolds' tone, which is pretty signature. It's
Yeah.
funny. It actually works really well. It pokes fun at AI too, but also shows that it can be accurate when prompted correctly with the create talent to make it work, right? Ryan Reynolds is super deadpan and funny. Like he's gonna make the script work. But also there's so much content of him and his voice and tone that ChatGPT can accurately write a script for him because of the amount of content that's out there and like his known work.
Mm.
So it's super interesting, I think, like as like a meta like articulation of these ads, right? But I think that's a win for me because they're always doing fun things. Like this wasn't on TV. I didn't see it on TV. I feel like it was an online only. It's on YouTube. It's like one of their most viewed clips on YouTube. So I think great for an online only ad. Like let's make ChatGPT write the script and make him read it without any prompting. This is funny. Great concept, great execution, simple. Right. And then talks about the benefits of their product. But I think like this one was a win for me and super simple and easy for them to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his performance, exactly. Like his typical performance really matched this concept. So I agree. A win. And God, there's just so many unique takes with on how to approach AI. Yeah, really good example there. I loved
Yeah,
it.
and the layers go back to this of like, okay, if ChatGPT can write a script in someone's voice, can they also perform it in someone's voice? Like now we get into the trademark of like, what is Ryan Reynolds like style? Like if he would have written that, would it be different than what ChatGPT puts out there? And like, how do you trademark it and how legal is it and all of that? So, we can get even deeper into this when you think about like how creating things in a celebrity voice works. But I thought it was a pretty interesting example. I think they did a good job poking fun, but also like it fits their brand super
Mm.
well.
Good positioning.
Excellent. Well, this was a meaty topic. Like I was saying to Jackie earlier, we'll definitely have to do like V2 of ads because there's going to be more fails and more examples for us to talk about throughout the new year, I'm sure. And as technology is rapidly changing, right, the rules and regulations are going to need to change too. So I think this is a great topic.
Always
So
changing.
yeah, thank you guys for joining Bot Boundaries. We love diving into this important topic on how ads are changing due to AI creation, optimization of tools. And while some of the results may not be fully baked or up to brand standards yet, the tools and tech are evolving rapidly in ways that will only improve in time. I, for one, am really looking forward to what AI brings us in terms of tools and innovations, rapid creative, like you said, just more time for strategy and thinking about other things. And I think some of these examples show you can be really creative with AI as well. And I'm interested to see how creatives use it in innovative ways in ads.
Yeah, me too. Oh, so good seeing you today, Katie. Just a reminder, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as Katie Wilson or Serious Moonlight Consulting. I'm on Instagram as well under Serious Moonlight Consulting.
Awesome. And you can find me on LinkedIn at Jackie Gutierrez and on Instagram and TikTok at Business Growth Gal. And please follow Bot Boundaries at Bot Boundaries on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're available on all platforms and also on YouTube. Bye, Katie. Good seeing you.
Bye. See ya.